Let's be honest, trade policy rarely grabs headlines. It's the kind of thing most people tune out, buried in the back pages of the news, overshadowed by flashier stories. But sometimes, what happens behind those headlines can change everything. On July 9, 2025, President Trump announced a 50% tariff on all imports from Brazil, and the fallout is staggering, sending shockwaves through both economies and beyond. This wasn't a minor tweak. It was a sledgehammer to a key Latin American partnership, shattering years of careful diplomacy and economic cooperation in a single stroke. The result? An $87 billion economic hit. Yes, billion. That's not just a statistic, it's a gut punch to the American economy. The US actually runs a trade surplus with Brazil, so this isn't about fixing a deficit. In fact, it's the opposite, hurting an area where America was actually winning. It's like starting a diet by eating an entire cake. It's self-sabotage, plain and simple. The shockwaves are real. From Midwest farms to Silicon Valley labs, industries are reeling. No sector is left untouched, and the uncertainty is spreading fast. Economists are calling it catastrophic. Some say it's the worst self-inflicted economic wound in decades, with ripple effects that could last for years. That $87 billion isn't just a number. It means lost jobs, higher prices, and broken supply chains. It's families struggling to make ends meet, and businesses forced to close their doors. This isn't economic strategy. It's a personal vendetta played out on the world stage, with global trust and alliances hanging in the balance. The tariffs kicked in August worse, and the damage is already mounting. Every day, more businesses feel the squeeze, and the pressure is only building. This isn't just about numbers or political posturing. It's about real people, real livelihoods, and the future of American competitiveness. It's about your grocery bill, your medicine, and the stability of American businesses. The impact is personal, and it's everywhere. One impulsive decision is rippling through millions of lives, creating uncertainty and hardship where there was once stability. We're staring down a completely avoidable economic crisis, one that didn't have to happen. So, how did we get here? Let's dive into the madness and unravel the story behind this unprecedented blunder. Because in this trade war, the only clear loser is us, the American people, workers, and families. Welcome to America's $87 billion self-inflicted wound. The consequences are real, and the scars may last for generations. Why target Brazil, a country we have a trade surplus with? On the surface, it doesn't make much sense. The US actually exports more to Brazil than it imports, so there's no obvious economic motive for a tariff war. So what's really going on here? The official reason is Brazil's court decisions against US social media companies and the ongoing trial of ex-President Jair Bolsonaro. These legal battles have put American tech giants and political interests in the spotlight, drawing international attention. But this isn't about fair trade or protecting American jobs. It's about personal loyalty and political alliances that run deeper than economic policy. Trump's alliance with Bolsonaro is no secret, and Bolsonaro's son, Eduardo, has lobbied the White House for months, pushing for US intervention in Brazil's legal affairs. This relationship has shaped the current crisis. The US even sanctioned Brazil's Supreme Court justice under the Magnitsky Act, a tool meant for human rights abusers, not judges and democracies. This move shocked legal experts and set off alarm bells in diplomatic circles. This is a blatant attempt to meddle in Brazil's politics to help a friend, using economic pressure as leverage to influence another country's justice system. The foundation of this $87 billion mess? A political favor, not an economic dispute. The real cost is trust between two major democracies. The White House is demanding Brazil's president intervene in an independent court case, something he can't and won't do, as it would undermine Brazil's democracy and judicial independence. The result? A crisis with no off-ramp, escalating tensions and damaging diplomatic ties, all to protect a political ally rather than national interests. This isn't trade policy, it's obstruction of justice on a global scale, with consequences that could ripple far beyond Brazil and the US. And it's setting a dangerous precedent for American foreign policy, blurring the line between economic tools and political retribution. Trade wars based on personal politics always backfire. And this one is no exception. The 50% tariff on Brazilian goods has shattered supply chains overnight. U.S. industries, from medicine to tech, depend on Brazilian imports that can't be easily replaced. Costs are soaring, and companies face a brutal choice: absorb losses or pass them to consumers. For many small businesses, it's a death sentence. American farmers are also caught in the crossfire. Brazil, a major buyer of U.S. agriculture, is threatening mirror tariffs. That means lost sales and falling incomes for rural America. The uncertainty is paralyzing business decisions nationwide. What was sold as protection is actually harming the very people it claimed to help. Main Street America is paying the price for a political game in Washington. The great backfire is underway. Let's bring this home, right to your breakfast table. Love coffee or orange juice? Brazil is the world's top exporter of both. Thanks to the new tariff, your morning cup just got a lot more expensive. The price hikes are immediate. Coffee roasters and juice producers have no choice but to pass costs to you. This isn't about bad weather or fuel prices, it's a direct result of political decisions. And it's not just breakfast. Brazil supplies key ingredients for medicines and electronics. Even life-saving drugs are now pricier. For many families, this is more than an inconvenience. It's a real hardship. Meanwhile, Brazil is preparing to retaliate, targeting American exports. So while you pay more at home, U.S. farmers lose sales abroad. It's a vicious cycle. Everyone loses. Your morning routine is now a casualty of global politics. If the U.S. expected Brazil to back down, it miscalculated. The situation has only intensified. President Lula has turned the tariff into a rallying cry, uniting Brazilians across the political spectrum. His speeches are filled with defiance and national pride. What was meant to weaken Lula has instead strengthened his hand. His popularity is soaring as he stands up to foreign pressure. The U.S. is now seen as meddling in Brazil's sovereignty. This perception has fueled widespread resentment. Lula is threatening reciprocal tariffs, and Brazil is a huge market for U.S. goods. The economic implications are significant. Retaliation will hit American exporters hard, especially in agriculture and manufacturing. The stakes are high for both nations. The sanctioning of a Supreme Court justice is viewed as an insult to Brazil's democracy. This has only added fuel to the fire. This isn't just a trade dispute. It's a matter of national honor. The Brazilian people are rallying behind their leaders. Brazil is more determined than ever to stand its ground. The resolve is palpable in the streets. The U.S. wanted to project strength, but instead, it's awakened a sleeping giant. Brazil's response is fierce and unwavering. The anger in Brazil is real, and the stakes are rising. Public sentiment is overwhelmingly against the U.S. What started as a political favor is now a full-blown international standoff. The situation is escalating rapidly. The U.S. has galvanized a nation against it. Social media is buzzing with anti-U.S. sentiment. The trade war is escalating, and there's no easy way out. Both nations are digging in for a prolonged conflict. This tariff isn't just an economic blunder. It's a legal and ethical minefield. The administration used emergency powers meant for real threats, not foreign court cases. Legal scholars are already challenging the move, and the Supreme Court will weigh in soon. Using the Magnitsky Act against a Democratic judge undermines its purpose and America's credibility. If we use human rights sanctions for political favors, we lose moral authority. The real damage? We're pushing Brazil toward China and the EU, who are eager to fill the gap. America's influence in Latin America is shrinking, while our rivals gain ground. Allies now see U.S. policy as unpredictable and personal. We're trading decades of goodwill for a short-term, self-serving play. The long-term cost to U.S. diplomacy could be immense. As the economic pain grows, so does the war of words. President Trump frames the tariff as defending American fairness, ignoring the real cause: Brazil's internal politics. Lula, meanwhile, stands firm, calling the U.S. move imperialist aggression and vowing to defend Brazil's democracy. His tough stance has rallied Brazilians behind him. The U.S. openly admits its actions are tied to Bolsonaro's fate, a stunning confession. Diplomats worldwide are alarmed. Some hope Bolsonaro himself might ask Trump to back down. But both sides are entrenched. The conflict is now deeply personal, with no easy off-ramp. Every new statement escalates the crisis. American and Brazilian citizens are caught in the crossfire. The chances of a quick resolution are fading. The standoff continues with real people paying the price. Strip away the rhetoric, and what's left? A trade war with no winners. American families pay more for basics, coffee, juice, medicine, because of a political favor. Businesses face exploding costs and layoffs. Farmers lose access to a vital export market. The policy was meant to hurt Brazil, but it's boomeranging back on the US. This sets a dangerous precedent, using economic power to interfere in allies' affairs. Trust is eroding, and America's global standing is slipping. The long-term damage will outlast any political victory. In the end, it's ordinary people, farmers, workers, families, who pay the highest price. When trade policy becomes personal, everyone loses.